Good morning and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us start with the headlines. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says Prime Minister willing to speak to everyone to ensure passage of the GST bill. Government also open to a debate in Parliament on the issue of intolerance. Heated arguments during the debate on Constitution on Thursday. Home Minister Rajnath Singh says secular and socialist terms unnecessary. Congress President Sonia Gandhi claims core constitutional values under attack in recent times. Bihar Chief Minister announces his government's decision to ban alcohol from April 2016. Ban was Nitish Kumar's poll promise to women voters. Turkey refuses to apologize for downing of Russian jet on Syrian border. Russian president threatens economic retaliation. And India look to take an unassailable lead in the Test series against South Africa on the third day of the second Test in Nagpur. Visitors need 278 runs to win on a spinner-friendly track. Well, in Parliament today, the new members will take oath in both the houses. In Rajya Sabha, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will raise a discussion on commitments to India's constitution as part of the 125th birth anniversary celebration of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. In the lower house also, a discussion will continue on commitment to India's constitution initiated by Rajnath Singh on the first day of the session. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will conclude the debate on Indian constitution. And Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that Prime Minister Modi is willing to speak to all parties for the smooth passage of the GST bill. Jaitley has also said that Centre is open to a debate on the issue of intolerance in Parliament.
With the government hoping to roll out the next indirect tax regime of the goods and services tax from April next year, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley offered an olive branch to the opposition. Jaitley has said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is willing to speak to everyone to get the law through. Speaking to private news channel Times Now, Jaitley said that he has spoken to almost all Congress leaders in this regard.
We have absolutely no hesitation, even at the level of the Prime Minister. We've never had it in the past. We don't have it. He's willing to speak to everyone. I have discussed, and I say this without fear of contradiction, with almost every leader of the Congress party.
The Congress had stalled the passage of the GST Constitution Amendment Bill in the last session of Parliament over its demands that a revenue-neutral rate not higher than 18% be mentioned in the Constitution Amendment Bill. It is also opposed to states being given powers to levy an additional 1% tax on supply of goods over and above the GST rate.
Process of a political compromise, India cannot have a GST with a flawed architecture. Because once you amend the constitution, then it's going to take decades before you correct those errors.
The finance minister also spoke about the government's willingness to debate on the issue of intolerance in Parliament. The winter session is expected to get stormy from Monday when the government tables legislative business in Parliament. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, signifying the government's inclination for a debate over all issues during the winter session, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that discussions and dialogues are soul of Parliament. Opposition parties also agreed with the Prime Minister for smooth functioning of Parliament. However, a united opposition has also urged the government to accommodate divergent views.
Expressing confidence that the winter session would witness eloquent discussions and exchange of innovative ideas, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed that there cannot be a bigger platform for dialogue than Parliament. Recalling his meeting with leaders of all parties, the Prime Minister said that everyone had agreed that the House should function in a cordial atmosphere.
सदन से बड़ा कोई संवाद का केंद्र नहीं हो सकता है। वाद हो, विवाद हो, संवाद हो, यही संसद की आत्मा है। बाकी कामों के लिए तो पूरा देश का मैदान अवेलेबल है और मुझे खुशी हुई कि सभी दलों ने वाद विवाद और संवाद के लिए सकारात्मक दृष्टिकोण प्रस्तुत किया है।
The Prime Minister's statement comes in the wake of a raging debate in the country over intolerance. The opposition has plans to corner the government over the issue and slam inflammatory comments by the ruling party's leaders.
जो लोग इसके जवाबदेह हैं देश का वातावरण दूषित करने के लिए, उन लोगों के खिलाफ वो कार्रवाई करें।
प्रधानमंत्री जवाब दें, सबका मानना है और डिबेट मुझे लगता है कि अच्छे तरीके से हो जाए और इसको हम एक दूसरे के विचारों को कम से कम सदन में टॉलरेट कर लें।
The opposition parties have said they are ready for a debate and dialogue, but also hit out at the government for adopting a dictatorial approach in parliament.
अहम मुद्दे हैं, उसको जरूर सुनना चाहिए। बाकी जहाँ तक रहा सवाल कि पार्लियामेंट चलनी चाहिए, इस बात के लिए सभी सहमत है।
There can be dissenting positions, voices, and the parties in power, the people holding power, they must understand this and they must respect the dissent.
The winter session, which ends on the 23rd of December, will have 38 legislative items, including 7 new bills, during its 20 sittings spread across 28 days. 24 of these bills are considered important, including the GST bill, 3 bills related to replacement of ordinances and the real estate regulation bill. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, marking the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, Lok Sabha on a Thursday held a discussion on the commitment to India's constitution. The core values of the constitution and its provisions were discussed in the House in detail, but a large part of the discussion was devoted to current political issues. Let's take a listen.
Speaking on the government's commitment towards upholding the core values of the Constitution, Home Minister Rajnath Singh said the 42nd constitutional amendment was unnecessary. The words secular and socialist were added to the preamble of the Constitution using this amendment.
संविधान निर्माताओं की यह मंशा थी कि preamble जो भारत के संविधान की आत्मा है, इसमें कोई परिवर्तन नहीं होना चाहिए, एक ऐसी उनकी सोच थी। और उस सोच के बावजूद 42वें संशोधन के माध्यम से इसमें परिवर्तन किया गया। मैं यह मानता हूं कि सोशलिस्ट और सेकुलर यह शब्द यदि डालना यदि आवश्यक रहा होता तो निश्चित रूप से बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर ने भारत के प्रियम्बल में उसी समय सोशलिस्ट और सेकुलर इन शब्दों का जो है प्रयोग किया होता।
Rajnath Singh also said that these days the word secular was being used mostly for political gains. The Home Minister also tried to corner actor Amir Khan on the issue of intolerance.
योग्य व्यक्ति थे, विदेशों से भी उन्होंने शिक्षा प्राप्त की थी। उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं, मैं भारत में ही रहूंगा और भारत की जो परंपराएं रही हैं, भारत की जो संस्कृति रही है, भारत की अन्य जो विधाएं रही हैं, उन सब सारी चीजों को ध्यान में रख के भारत को एक सशक्त भारत बनाने में मैं अपनी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका का निर्वाह करूंगा। उनका एक संकल्प था। उन्होंने यह कभी नहीं सोचा कि हमारी भारत में उपेक्षा हुई है, भारत में मुझे समय समय पर अपमान झेलना पड़ा है, तिरस्कार झेलना पड़ा है, मैं भारत छोड़कर कहीं दुनिया के दूसरे देशों में मैं चला जाऊंगा। बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर ने ऐसा किया।
For the opposition, Congress President Sonia Gandhi started the debate. Talking about the Constitution, she said that recently the core values of the Constitution have been under attack.
दुख इसीलिए है कि संविधान के जिन आदर्शों और सिद्धांतों ने हमें दशकों से प्रेरित किया है, आज उन पर खतरा मंडरा रहा है। उन पर जानबूझकर हमला हो रहा है।
Sonia Gandhi pointed out that since the birth of the Constitution had deep ties with the independence movement, its history automatically connects with that of the Congress party. The Congress president also targeted the government by repeatedly focusing on the word history.
13 दिसंबर 1946 को संविधान सभा में ही जवाहरलाल नेहरू द्वारा प्रस्तुत उद्देश्य प्रस्तुत ऑब्जेक्टिव्स रेजोल्यूशन ने संविधान की प्रस्तावना का रूप लिया। संविधान अद्भुत रूप से लचीला साबित हुआ है। इसमें 100 से अधिक संशोधन हो चुके हैं।
The debate on the Constitution happened in the current volatile political environment. Although social and economic equality and many other topics were widely discussed, the focus of the entire debate was the issue of intolerance. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
But in other news, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj is in Malta for the Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting Summit. The 3-day-long summit that starts today will focus on combating terrorism and tackling climate change. The 53-member bloc summit is held once in 2 years, and this one comes just days after the deadly terror attacks in Paris. Now, India is the Commonwealth's biggest member country. More than 30 heads of states, along with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, will attend the session. Right now, we'll slip into a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. News from Punjab, where the Congress chief Pratap Singh Bajwa and the state CLP leader Sunil Jagar have resigned from their posts. The Congress President Sonia Gandhi has accepted their resignations. Assembly polls in Punjab are scheduled in 2017, and Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi has held a series of consultations in the past few months on how best to tone up the organisation in the state, where its prospects appear to be bright. Now, AICC's General Secretary Shakil Ahmed, who is in charge of party affairs in Punjab, did not specify when the reconstitution of the PCC will take place now. Last week, Rahul Gandhi had held a delegation of party leaders from Punjab, including Amrinder and Bajwa, to President Pranab Mukherjee to project a unity in the state unit. Now, Amrinder and Bajwa have been at loggerheads for long. In the last assembly polls, Gandhi had projected Amrinder as the chief ministerial candidate. Congress, however, failed to succeed in the polls. And news from Bihar, well, a big announcement by the Nitish Kumar government there. The Chief Minister has announced a ban on alcohol in the state from 1st of April next year. Now, this is a poll promise that the Chief Minister had made to the women voters.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar fulfilling a poll promise he made to women before the state voted. A ban on alcohol from April 1 next year.
कहा कि इसका एक्शन प्लान तैयार करिए और मेरे लिए वो तारीख है 1 अप्रैल 2016 से हम संबंध में नई नीति लागू करना चाहते हैं और वो नीति ऐसी हो कि हमारे गरीब के जीवन में जो आज अंधेरा है शराब के चलते वो समाप्त हो.
The state earns a revenue of Rs 400 crore annually from liquor sale. Ahead of state elections, women had requested Nitish Kumar at a function to stop sale of liquor, saying it was ruining their homes. The Chief Minister had promised he would do so if he returned to power.
हमारे मन में एक बात आती थी कोई पहले भी शराबबंदी लागू की गई थी, लेकिन वो इफेक्टिव हुई नहीं. 77 में लागू हुआ, 77 या 78, लेकिन वो बहुत प्रभावकारी नहीं हुआ. तो बाद में फिर से वो शुरू हो गया और किसी ने इस पर ध्यान नहीं दिया.
The move has been welcomed by opposition, though they did not lose the opportunity to take a dig at the CM.
नीतीश कुमार तो 10 साल तक शराब को तो है प्रमोट किया, गांव में स्कूल नहीं खुला, सब जगह शराब का दुकान खोल दिया और अब कहता है कि शराब बंदी करें तो करें ना.
लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी विपक्ष होने के नाते पूरी तरीके से उनके इस कदम का, उनके इस प्रस्ताव का स्वागत करती है. नीतीश जी के शासनकाल में ही ये परंपरा शुरू हुई थी. हर नुक्कड़ हर चौराहे पर हम लोगों ने देखा था शराब की दुकानें खुलती आ रही हैं.
निश्चित रूप से बिहार में शराबबंदी का निर्णय स्वागत योग्य कदम है और नीतीश कुमार जी यदि इसे 1 अप्रैल से लागू कर पाते हैं तो यह बिहार के लिए अच्छी बात होगी.
The previous ruling NDA government, headed by Nitish Kumar, had implemented a liberal excise policy, due to which a large number of liquor shops came up in the state. It turned into a big issue in the recently concluded assembly elections. Women outnumbered men when it came to voter turnout during these polls, becoming a big factor in tilting the balance in Nitish's favor. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in other news, the Delhi government has introduced a bill proposing amendments to the Working Journalists Act. The act envisages imprisonment of up to 1 year and penalty extending to 10,000 rupees for any violations. The bill was tabled in the Delhi Assembly on Thursday. Delhi Labour Minister Gopal Rai said that the shortcomings in the present act were coming in the way of implementations of several recommendations of the Majita Wage Board for journalists and non-journalists. The proposed amendments stipulates imprisonment of up to 6 months and fine which may extend to 5,000 rupees for non-payment of due wages to an employee. Further, they envisage more stringent penal provision which include punishment of imprisonment as well as the provisions of enhanced fine which will provide an effective deterrence for the violators of the act. Rai also alleged that no media organization has so far implemented the recommendations of the Majita Wage Board in the national capital. And now let's take a look at what all events are lined up for the day in the day ahead. President Pranab Mukherjee will be on a 2-day visit to West Bengal starting today. During the visit, the President will visit the Hashimra Air Force Station at Alipurdwar and present the standard to 2 squadrons of the Indian Air Force. The event will see Air Force's Surya Kiran aerobatic team, which took to the skies after a break of nearly 4 years, perform in the skies. And this will be SCAT's second performance after it became operational again in October this year. The National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, in collaboration with the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, will be celebrating the Golden Jubilee of the Green Revolution in India at a function in New Delhi. Union Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister Radha Mohan Singh will be the chief guest at the event. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, the founder of the M.S. Swaminathan Research Foundation, Chennai, will deliver the key address. The case on order on levy of environmental compensation charge, or the ECC, will come up in the Supreme Court today. On 16th of November, the top court had warned that a contempt notice would be issued if its order on environmental levy ranging from 700 to 1300 rupees on commercial vehicles entering Delhi was not obeyed. SMYR Consortium LLP, which has been levying toll on behalf of MCD, is seeking modification of the order. The Sri Lanka police have warned against organising events eulogizing the LTTE after posters commemorating the Heroes' Day surfaced in the country's Tamil-dominated north. During the LTTE's 30-year campaign, 27th of November was celebrated as Heroes' Day to mark the death of the outfit's first cadre, Shankar, in 1982. The LTTE battled the Sri Lankan forces for 3 decades for a separate Tamil homeland. Well, on to the big international story now, and Russia has rejected Turkish claims that they were unaware that the plane it shot down on the Syrian border a few days ago was Russian. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin also threatened an economic retaliation against Turkey as it refused to apologize. Meanwhile, French President François Hollande met Putin in Moscow. Both agreed to work closely in their fight against Islamic State.
War of words continues between Russia and Turkey over the downed Russian plane in Syria. Russian President Vladimir Putin threatened an economic retaliation against Turkey, even as he said they are still awaiting a reasonable explanation for the shooting down of its war plane. Russia might order restrictive measures against Ankara that would include freezing new joint investment projects. Not ready to apologize, Turkey dismissed the threats as emotional and unfitting. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that had they known the plane was Russian, they would have warned it differently.
Bu noktada bazı tehditlerle ortak projeler durdurulabilir. Aramızdaki şu andaki bazı münasebetler kaldırılabilir. Ya bu yaklaşımlar siyasilere yakışıyor mu? Bunlar olacak şeyler mi? Önce biz nerede hata yapıldı?
Технические средства защиты от нападения ракет, в том числе и тепловая защита, специалисты знают, как это сделать. Мы этого ничего не делали, повторяю еще раз, потому что считали Турцию дружественным государством и просто не ждали никаких атак.
Russian Defense Ministry has already suspended all cooperation with the Turkish military, including a hotline set up to share information about airstrikes in Syria.
After holding talks with French President François Hollande in Moscow, Putin said that they will cooperate with the US-led coalition in its fight against IS. But he cautiously warned that it would be in peril if there are any repeats of Turkish action.
Двойные стандарты, использует их для достижения своих политических целей, ведет с ними преступный бизнес, играют с огнем. История показывает, что такие действия рано или поздно выйдут боком самим.
Despite recent skirmishes over Turkey, huge differences remain over the fate of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Putin dismissed Hollande's statement that Assad should not be part of the political transition in Syria. According to Putin, it is up to Syrians to decide. Analysts suggest that there is no sign of a grand coalition against terror that France has been calling for. Indirectly pointing fingers at the US, Putin suggested that Turkey shot down its plane in the Syrian border after receiving information about its location from the US. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Belgian authorities have reduced the threat level in Brussels from its highest level of 4 to 3. Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel stressed that the threat of an attack in Brussels remained real and serious, but said that the imminent nature of the threat was no longer present, bringing the capital in line with the rest of the country. The city was locked down for nearly a week, with schools, universities and the metro system closed and soldiers deployed on the streets. The alert was raised after fears of a Paris-style attack. Now, some of the Paris suspects lived in Brussels. At least one, Salah Abdel-Slam, is still at large. Meanwhile, police in Belgium have mounted a number of raids and search over the past few weeks, and they have charged 5 people with terror-related offences. More international news and updates now in World Wrap. Germany will join the military campaign against Islamic State militants in Syria by deploying Tornado reconnaissance jets, refueling aircraft and a frigate to the region. Now, this came after a direct appeal from close partner France for Berlin to do more. The decision to commit military personnel and hardware is a shift for Germany, which has resisted such a direct involvement in the conflict so far. However, it still has no plans to join France, United States and Russia in conducting airstrikes in Syria. Meanwhile, Berlin police arrested 2 men during raids at the Islamic Cultural Center in Charlottenburg. The men are suspected of preparing to carry out what police said was a serious act of violence representing a danger for the state. The 2 men were reportedly in contact with the Islamist movement. The European police are on high alert following attacks in Paris on 13th of November. Pope Francis has said that world leaders must reach a historic agreement to fight climate change and poverty at the upcoming Paris talks, as they face the stark choice to either improve or destroy the environment. The pontiff is in Kenya on the first stop of a 3-nation tour of Africa. The Pope also said that illegal trade in ivory and diamond fuels conflicts and could destroy Africa's environment. Pope Francis's 5-day visit to Africa will also see him go to Uganda and the Central African Republic. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump on Thursday denied that he mocked a disabled reporter during a rally in Southern Carolina on Tuesday. Trump has been under fire for mocking a disabled New York Times reporter. Now, Trump performed an impression of Sergei Kowalewski, who suffers from a congenital joint condition. He used the journalist's 2001 article to back up a widely disputed claims that thousands of Muslims in New Jersey celebrated the 9/11 attacks. Malian special forces have arrested 2 suspects in connection with a siege at a hotel in the capital that left 20 people dead. The suspects' identity and their alleged role in the Friday's attack at the Radisson Blu Hotel is unclear at the moment. Well, armed men held 170 guests and staff hostage during the 9-hour siege, killing 20 and wounding 14 people before police stormed the building. An Al-Qaeda affiliate claimed responsibility for the attack, in which 2 militants also died. Now to cricket now, and South Africa in trouble in the chase for 310 runs set by India on the third day of the third test in Nagpur. Resuming the day on a 32 for 2, Proteas lost Dean Elgar and AB de Villiers to R. Ashwin. Well, with the pitch assisting the spinners, the visitors face a big challenge against the Indian spin trio of R. Ashwin, Jadeja and Amit Mishra. 20 wickets fell on day 2. India were bowled out for 173 runs in their second innings, but then they bundled out South Africa for just 79 runs in their first innings. And all the other sporting news now in Sports Beat. Indian shuttler PV Sindhu advanced to the quarterfinals of the Macau Open. She defeated Indonesia's Lindawani Panteri 21-17, 21-18 in the straight games and will now take on China's Chen Yufei to seal a berth in semi-finals. In the men's singles, the 7th seed HS Pranoy saw off China's Qian Bin 12-21, 21-11, 21-19 in a grueling match. Sai Prinath also advanced to the quarters with a straight set win. Liverpool reached the last 32 of the European League with the one game to spare after coming from behind to beat Bordeaux. Liverpool levelled through James Miller's penalty after Christian Benteke was fouled in penalty area. Benteke then scored the winner to put Liverpool at top of the group. US decathlete Ashton Eaton was named the IIAF's Male Athlete of the Year for 2015. The 27-year-old broke the world record to win the world title in Shanghai. Genzebe Dibaba of Ethiopia won the female award after breaking the 150 meters world record. She took 1500 world title in Beijing. Well, that's all in this edition of News, but news and updates continue on your channel. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.